Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection. Today we're going to take a look at Lee's, what I call the Roman candle collection. I'll explain that a bit later. Now, the first watch that Lee had in his sequence of watches is this Seiko SRP 777. And Lee said this was sort of a bang around work, if you're out doing some hard work of some sort, some labor. This is a good watch to have. You got a NATO strap on it. It's it's really, but it's got a day date on it, and it's a diver. It's a pretty nice watch. I use my Seiko 5 for the same thing, and it's not quite as nice as the SRP 77, but it does a good job. And it's just a good, reliable watch, banging around, good one, and it's in great shape. That's one of the things that I noticed about Lee's collection. His watches are he keeps them nice and clean and takes good care of them. That's always good to see in a collection. Oh, clean mine up, so it looks a little better. Okay, now the next one is a really interesting one. Another one too. You can see what good shape it's in. This is a Rolex Datejust, 36 millimeters, and this was a gift when Lee received his master's degree. This was a gift from his father. He said he doesn't use it very much, but he'd never sell it, and I understand that perfectly. There's certain watches I have that were gift watches or something special, even though I may not wear them much as probably I'd like to. They're special watches, and this is one of those watches, and I really understand that. I say it's sort of neat. Now this is the watch that led Lee down the path that we've all traveled as watch collectors, is that you have a nice watch like this Rolex Datejust, and you start thinking, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have the next one? And so it has special significance in that way too. Well, so the first step in the path was this Rolex Submariner. Now, this is a non-date version, and to be quite frank with you, I prefer non-date watches. This one, my Chronomet Souverain from F.P. Journe, has no date on it. The only thing it's got is a power reserve indicator, which tells me how much I have to wind or have wine left. And this one is sort of interesting. He said, this is sort of the faithful companion on road trips and hiking. And I thought, well, that's sort of interesting. That's, if for hiking, I would think the Seiko would come along. But I understand that. I have, for my walks and stuff, I use my Roger Dubuis Easy Diver, and this is also a diver. So that's as a good road trip watch, Submariner would be a good choice, I think. Now this next watch, to tell you the truth, is one that I don't know. I just sort of see the Daytona as sort of overpriced and all of the kinds of usual complaints. But this one I really like, and I think it's a white dial. And the reason I like watches with white dials is I can read them better. That's it. I can read this easier than I can one of my other favorite watches, my Easy Diver. And it's not a matter of the thing about black dials on watches. I like them because they tend to be more formal, and I sort of like formality, but at the same time, what's easier for me to read. And for the chronograph with 3 subdials, it's going to be hard to read. I have my Daniel Roth, and I love this watch, but boy, I tell you, I just sort of glance at it, and I've got 3 dials, each one with a little hand going like that or still, and it's sort of like, well, what time is it? But this one seems to be a very clear one, and a nice one too. And there's, while I said I'm not a great fan of Rolex Daytonas, it's just, this one appeals to me in a way that, I don't know. Sometimes you see a watch and you like it, period. Or you see a watch and it just like, no. This one I like. Okay, now this next watch I really like. And this is a Jaeger-LeCoultre Geographic Universal Time. Recently, Jaeger-LeCoultre, or its master, Richemont, decided that Jaeger-LeCoultre didn't need the Geophysique or the Geographic watches. And to me, that's a shame. This is one of my favorite world timers. I don't have a world timer, and always sort of have my eye out for one, and this is one that I've always thought, this is a nice watch. But they got rid of it, and so as far as I'm concerned, Lee has a really great watch. And I know some people are worried about, well, what about what happens when they drop it from their line and you need it repaired? That's not going to be a problem. Same thing happened with Rolex, with their prints, the Cellini prints. It happened with Patek Philippe and their Gondolo line, which I just, again, if I like it, they're going to drop it. So I like the Jaeger-LeCoultre Geographic and Geophysic line, and of course they dropped it, so I better quit liking anything. They're going to quit having them. So this is another, this is like, it's sort of like starting to broaden out the collection. Here you start off with a beater, which I think is a good base for anyone, like a good G-Shock or something like that. And then you go up the neck, you've got the 3 different Rolexes. And I tell you, for the top of a Rolex collection, nothing wrong with the Daytona at all, especially one like Lee has. But then you sort of burst out of that with the this Geographic Universal Time. I just really like this a lot. It's got a gold rotor on it and everything else. It's a neat one. Okay, by the way, too, if I were a collector other than Lee, I am a collector, what I would do is I would keep my eye out for some good buys on the Geophysics and the Geographics that are they're going to be floating around out there, and you might find some really good buys in the secondary markets. So, okay, now the final one is sort of what I see as this is the bursting of the collection. This is a Longa and Sunda Richard Longa. What a watch! This just to me is the kind of watch the almost perfect watch for me, for someone like myself. It's very clean. It's got the time only. It's got 2 clear, I guess, I don't know what kind of hands those are. They're sort of like what are called leaf hands or fuel in French, something like that. And then that nice second hand going out with the diamond at the top. This watch is just gorgeous. It's called the Scientific Observation Watch and was named after Richard Longa. And it's extremely accurate, and it's gorgeous. I mean, what more you can say it? And the other thing about this, and this is one thing, maybe this is one reason I sort of a little hard on Rolex, is that you can't see what's going on inside. In this one, look at that nice big balance wheel, and it's just a gorgeous watch. And the blued screws that they have in there, and the engraving that they have on the balance cock. I mean, you can look at either side of this watch. So this is sort of my Roman candle. How, if you've ever played with a Roman candle, you have at the bottom, and then it goes up, and then it shoots stuff out, and then bursts. This is what Lee's collection reminded me of. And boy, I tell you, for the star on top of the tree. This is really an amazingly cool watch, and I really like it. I really very happy that Lee had sent me these watches to review. Now, if I'm going to suggest where do you go from here, one of the things I was thinking of is, and it's one that I probably ought to pay more attention to myself, is an annual calendar of some sort, either annual or perpetual calendar. It's something they're a little more, I guess how it's the word for it, elegantly fun, like an H. Moser. That I think would be, I love wearing my H. Mosers, I really do. One of my favorite watches to wear. There's something about them that is like, yeah, I'm a watch, but I'm a watch that sort of has a mind of its own. It gives a style of its own, and that would fill out a collection like this, I think. But anyway, I think it's just fantastic. And of course, as always, I'd really like to hear from you and what you would think would be a good addition. My suggestion, there is a very, very nice Vacheron Constantin, and I think it's a Historique 1941 with an annual calendar. I don't know if that's of any interest, or I think it's an annual calendar. And then there's another one with a perpetual calendar. Perpetual calendar, I think you can find some good buys on those in a Moser. Moser has, to me, the coolest perpetual calendar, because it unless you keep something wound 100% of the time, which you may not want to do. That's how you're going to keep your perpetual calendar, and so you have something to on the Moser, a very clever way of setting it. So anyway, well, listen, those are my suggestions, and I'd really like to hear what you think, first of all, of Lee's collection, and any suggestions you might have. And of course, this is also an invitation. If you have a collection, a watch collection, especially one with a story to it, please send it in. At the end of the video, there will be a little thing that shows you how to do it. A little video that I made to show you how to send in your watches for review. And this is, like I said, an invitation to subscribe if you like. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Science, the art and science of watch collection.